What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. Happy Friday, soldiers. We are here at another end of the week. There will probably be some videos over the weekend, probably doing some reviews of what happened in that past regional, because we haven't been able to talk to them because we're doing the set 5 reveals. But speaking of set 5 reveals, let's go ahead and get into it and see what new cards are coming to Runecraft. Alright, so the first card we're going to be talking about is Apostle of Truth. So it's a 3-cost 3/3, you can evolve it for 1, and when it comes into play, if you have 3 or more Sorcerer followers in your field, this gets +2/+2 and Ward. Okay, it looks like we're going to be getting some Sorcerers in set 5, I'm very excited to see that. Now, how practical to keep 3 or more cards on your field with Runecraft is, just a bit out there for me. Just playing Runecraft as it is, keeping 2 cards on the board is already hard enough. But keeping 3 or more is going to be a little interesting. I'm really looking forward to see what other sorcerers are in for this set. So let's go ahead and see what this Evolve looks like. Alright, so we have Apostle Evolve. So on Evolve, you choose a follower in the enemy field and you deal damage equal to twice the number of sorcerer followers on your field. So I'm having trouble thinking of where this card could practically come up. I know you're going to have a board full with sorcerers to really actually play her. But in reality, when you evolve her, you kind of want to do some more than just choose one enemy follower to be dealing double the damage of what sorcerers you have on the field. So I really don't know how good this card's going to be going into set 5. Let's go ahead and see what the other cards have in store. Alright, so we have our first spell card. We have Destructive Refrain. It's a 1 cost. You can choose one of the following. You can either 1, search for Lysiana, Omen of Destruction from your deck and put it to your hand, or you can 2, spend 2 play points and deal damage to all followers on enemy field equal to the number of idle cards on your field. So I like cards that have multiple abilities on them, especially with the flexibility of what they can do, but the one thing I feel like this card might have been missing is it just being a quick, because it really doesn't do too much besides, spending the 2 play points, and I feel like that would be pretty fair if you have it in quick timing and then spending the 2 play points, and then dealing damage to all the followers on the enemy field with the number of idols are on the field. And your opponent can play around this pretty nicely, especially you can either just add a card to your hand or just deal damage to whatever cards are on your field. Alright, next up we have Disciple of Destruction. He's a 3-cost 3/4, he has Ward, and when he comes into play, if there are 3 or more idle cards on your field, you draw 2 cards. It would not be Rune if you didn't draw cards from a certain effect. Like, there's got to be some way to fill up your hand. There's no way you're sitting here just going one by one each turn. I'm glad there's cards that are helping with the idle support to just draw cards. I wonder what more of these idols are going to look like. I'm very excited to see what this new line of Runecraft's going to be, because I'm ready to do it in the breakdown for next set. And then we have Disciple of Truth. So she's a 2-cost 2/2, and when you play a sorcerer card, you add 1 to your leader's health. Yeah, I don't see this card ever sticking around, even though it has a very good and beautiful art. I would honestly probably replace this as my channel profile picture, because it just screams what I do for this channel, especially for Runecraft. But cards that just generate value over time by just playing other cards is not going to stick around. And the fact that she's a 2-cost 2/2, she's not surviving for 1 play point if they have the play point up for it. But I will say that if you're able to get into those later turns and then play her and then play a whole bunch of other things, then you might be cooking with some grease. Alright, and we have Honest Cohort. So it's a 2-cost quick spell. You can choose a follower from your enemy field, deal 3 damage to it, and if there's a Radio Omen of Truth in your field, deal 6 damage instead, and then deal 3 damage to its leader. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the Instagram post or the Facebook post or whatever Shadowverse Evolve is posting for set 5 to get us ready for what's coming out. But Rayo is the legendary for Runecraft, and if you have him on the field and being able to use this card, you can deal 6 damage, and then you can deal 3 damage to the enemy leader. Moving on, we have Iron Staff Mechanic. So he's a 5-cost 4/4, you can evolve him for 1, and when he comes into play, you search for a card with an original cost of 1 from your deck, put it to the EX area, and this turn, when you play it, reduce 1 from its cost. The one thing that literally excites me about this card is that it literally just says a card with a cost of 1. So you put it into your EX area and it literally becomes free. So your Insights, your Bellringer Angels, or anything that costs 1 becomes free for the turn, I believe. Yeah, for that turn. So you could do a Lamplet for free by just playing him out, or anything that you can use for a cost of 1 will literally become free. So let's go ahead and see what the evolve is for him. And we have Iron Staff Evolve. So on Evolve, you search for a card with an original cost of 1 from your deck, put it into your EX area, and this turn when you play it, reduce 1 from its cost. So on the Evolved form, you have the same effect as the Fanfare form, and now that I think about it, this card is going to be really good in Glory Finder too, because you're going to be thinning your deck out a little bit just by getting 1-cost playpoint cards that you can use for free. And if you don't want to use them in that turn, they can just stay there. It's not like they go anywhere at the end of the turn. You can just sit there and wait for them and maybe put a quick spell in there or maybe a Bell Ringer. You're only going to have one of those cards in your Glory Finder deck, so just going ahead and searching them out will be pretty good. Alrighty, and then we have Lishena, Omen of Destruction. I'm sorry if I said it wrong earlier. She's a 4-cost 2/4. Stats kind of suck. But when she comes into play, you put a Destruction in white and Destruction in black to your EX area. So I don't know what exactly both of those Destruction whites and blacks do, but let's go ahead and talk about them now. Alright, so we have a Destruction in white, so it's a 1-cost amulet, and at the start of your main phase, you can add 2 to your leader's health. So that's pretty interesting. I believe this card is an idol, so this goes for one or the 2 of idol cards that you have in your field for the other effects for the rest of the cards we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead and see what the Destruction in black does. And then we have Destruction in black, so it's a 2-cost. At the start of your main phase, you deal 2 damage to all enemy leaders. So when I read cards like this with a certain wording, it just screams Glory Finder. And when you play cards like this, it really does paint a target on your back. But are you really the biggest threat there? That's the biggest thing about Glory Finder. It's just, you know, talking to everybody being, am I really the biggest threat here? I'm only dealing 2 damage. I'm pretty sure you guys can find some way in your deck to heal. And if not, then they'll probably gang up against you if you have like the biggest threat in your deck. Or, you know, somebody might be playing a more aggressive deck next to you, and then, you know, they might aggress you down, or they might aggress somebody else down. That's just the glory thing about Glory Finder. Alright, and we have another quick spell. We have Meta Production, so it's a 1-cost quick. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Among them, you may reveal a spell card and add it to your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So it looks like Spell Chain's getting a little bit of support here, just to go ahead and spend 1 at the end of your opponent's turn, or just any point in time. You can look for a spell at the top 2, and, you know, the chances of you running into a spell in Spell Chain are probably high, but, you know, sometimes you can always hit a follower. But one thing I don't like about certain cards like this is that if you have a follower that you really want to see in the next turn, you have to look at 2, and then you really have to choose. If it's not a spell, then guess where it's going? At the bottom of your deck. So, best of luck to you when using this card, but it looks like this is some Spell Chain support. Alrighty, and we have our legendary Rayo, Omen of Truth. So he's a 7-cost 7/7. You can evolve him for 2, and then when he comes into play, you can discard a sorcerer card. You choose a follower from the enemy field and then deal 9 damage to it. So 1, that's a lot of damage to be doing to a single follower for just discarding a sorcerer card, but that really makes up for the removal outside of everything in set 5. So just make sure you have this sorcerer in hand to discard to do that amount of damage to a follower. Just pray that they don't have aura, because that's Runecraft's biggest weakness. Alright, looking at the Evolved for Rayo. So on Evolve, you look at the top 9 cards of your deck. You may put up to 3 cards with the original cost of 3 or lower to your EX area from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And this turn, when you play those cards, reduce 3 from their cost. Alright, so what's the story with Rayo? What's up with 9? He's got 9 blades. He's a 9/9. He looks at the top 9 cards, so what's up with that? So if anybody knows, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm definitely a Runecraft fanatic. So if any Runecraft fanatics that know like the lore behind these legendaries, please let me know. I really want to know, because like, what's up with this number 9? But outside of that, you look at the top 9 cards, and you look for 3 cards that cost 3 or less, and then they become free from using his effect. I'm honestly ready to see what people are ready to concoct with this Premier Legendary, because I feel like this is the stronger card outside of the Omen of Destruction card. But you're able to play those amulets for free using this card as well. So whatever cards that you're going to get off the top 9, which is a huge percentage of your deck. So if you don't hit anything 3 or less, then you really weren't destined to do this ability at that time, or just get anything of good value. But you definitely should hit at least 1 target to play for free. Okay, and we have Rhythm in white and Rhythm in black. So it's a 2-cost quick. You can choose a follower on the enemy field and deal 2 damage to it. And then if there are 2 or more idle cards in your field, deal 2 damage to its leader and add 2 to your leader's health. So essentially, if you have both the amulets out on the field, you can do this at the end of your opponent's turn, with the quick timing and everything. But you're already going to have the idle comparison with both the amulets on the field, because I do believe they are idle amulets. So you have them both on the field, and they're going to do both their effects again through a spell card. Alright, moving on, we have Sapphiria Synthetic Beast. She's a 4-cost 2/6. She has Rush. When she comes into play, she gains X attack. X is the number of Runecraft followers in your graveyard, and you can activate for 5 play points to gain Storm. So I feel like this card will be pretty cool to pair with D-Shift because you get that second turn. It's just when she comes into play, she gains that number. You're able to do the rest of your turn if you need to. I feel like this card's going to be paired perfectly with Wizardess. You pay 4, she has that huge attack line for all the followers that are in your cemetery. You know, Runecraft followers, that is. And then if you need the flexibility of ever gaining Storm and just finishing your opponent off, you have that chance to spend those 5 play points and then give her Storm and then swing that very same turn. Alright, and we have Servant of Destruction. He's a 2-cost 2/2. You can evolve him for 2, and then when he comes into play, if there are 3 or more idle cards on your field this turn, this evolve costs 0. Yeah, so it specifically says on evolve, but I don't believe the evolve actually costs anything unless you're going to search for something through your deck. And Runecraft isn't that good in terms of searching through cards in your deck and like getting a card and then playing it the very same turn on evolve, especially on a 2-cost follower. So I'm pretty sure the evolve just costs 0 if you have the 3 or more idle cards. So let's go ahead and see what this evolve does. Alright, so we have the Servant of Destruction evolve. So on evolve, you choose a follower on the enemy field and deal 2 damage to it and its leader. Yeah, so like I thought, there was no on evolve cost to be searching out anything, nothing of that sort. But it's pretty cool that you're going to be dealing 2 damage to a follower and a leader, and then his stats gain up pretty well. Okay, so we have Truth Adjudication. So it's a 3-cost spell. You can choose one of the following. If you have 2 or more sorcerer followers on your field, you can choose up to 2 instead. You can 1. Draw 2 cards, 2. Deal 3 damage to all enemy leaders, or 3. Choose a follower from the enemy field and deal 3 damage to it. So this is probably one of the cards you're going to be looking forward to with doing Rayo, to look at the top 9 and do the evolve effect and then get this spell out and then put it into your EX area and becomes free. And if you have another sorcerer follower on the field, then you can do 2 of these effects. So obviously you're going to want to draw 2 cards, which, you know, doesn't hurt too bad. Or if you have a lot of people that are sitting on 3 or less damage, you can deal 3 or just deal 3 and then finish them off with another follower we have on the field. Or you can just deal 3 damage to a follower on the field if they're just sitting at 3, whatever the situation occurs for. But having the 2 sorcerers on the field is really what's going to put this in the gear the most. And you're probably going to do Rayo and then probably hit a sorcerer that costs 3 or less for the top 9. Make sure you have the 2 sorcerers and then getting the most out of this spell ability. Alrighty, and lastly, we have our Lashena alt art ultra rare. She looks absolutely beautiful with the flowers and everything. She looks adorable. Well, alright guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what you're excited for Runecraft, and yet again, happy Friday. I'll see if I'm able to post this weekend. I might be a little busy doing some other things, but I'm glad I was able to do these reveals with you. I'm looking forward to doing them next week. We might be doing a Sunday webcam video this Monday, depends on who's showing up this Sunday. I don't know, but I'm looking forward as always to seeing you guys in the next one. So make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.